How's it going, patrons? Or people who waited a year. This is the wedding toast episode of Fix My Car Cast. And I thought, if it's okay with you, I might just have a refreshing beverage before I get started. Just kind of crack that open and just very leisurely pour it into a glass. Yeah, I feel like that's going to taste so good. And I'm really going to savor it and drink it nice and slow. I'm really looking forward to drinking this. Ooh, a lot of head. And, you know, I like a lot of head, but a little too much head. Anyway, yeah. So it's time for the wedding toast episode of Car My Fix Cast. And that's coming up right now. That is simply too much head. A sentence I never say. All right, well, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Let's see, opening line. Ooh, an open bar. Hey, can I get 0 beers? Which is maybe hypocritical, but it's gonna be a banger of an open for the audio listeners. This is where the theme song goes. So that's why I'm being quiet. This is the version without like any sound effects or anything like that. So if you're watching just this is just to prove to you that I made this all up in one go off the top of my head, if that's something that matters to someone like you. You're listening to Fix My Car Cast, hosted by me, and this is episode 124. Comedian and musician Keith Hebert will be joining us as soon as he finds something blue. But first, housekeeping. This is the show where you pick what I say and how I say it. Pick a topic or prompt by donating to the GoFundMe, and vote on the gimmick by joining my Patreon for just $1 a month. Join at the $5 or higher level and also get bonus episodes and behind-the-scenes footage. Links are in the description. Also down there, merch. Get yourself some merch. What's on the registry? Well, probably something on the Fix My Carcast merch page. Hey, no new donors this week. The streak finally ends. The total raised for paying off my car repair debt is holding at $2,250. Also, when we get to $3,000, it unlocks an automatic show gimmick, which is I will record an episode at sea. Fun fact, did you know that this whole podcast disappears when we hit $10,000? I'm losing a podcast, but I'm gaining financial independence. Hey, do you like the theme song? No? Well, if you make a donation of $50 or more, in addition to picking an episode topic, you get to change one thing about the theme song forever, unless somebody else changes it back. Want me to add a few bars of Here Comes the Bride? I'll do it. $50. Also, Hail Garbuda. Also, if you would like to own the painting I made in episode 118, I'll be giving it away to the next person who donates $100 or more. That's right, own a piece of Fix My Car Cast history while you still can. We have a new patron this week. Thank you, Adri, for becoming a buddy. I hope you enjoy all the perks that come with your new membership. I know I will. Now it's time for a topic suggestion. I'll suggest topics I think I could easily talk about for a whole episode, though admittedly I think the show is more fun when it's something I'm completely clueless about. So, something I could talk about is why I own a large pencil. It's real big. Want to know more? Donate today. Checking in on the best city in the world based on which city listened to the last episode the most. And our big winner is Watertown, Massachusetts. Congratulations, Watertown, Massachusetts. First time, I do believe. Way to be. Let it be known that your Kapalishwarar Temple, Pondi Bazaar, and Theosophical Society International Headquarters are the best in the world for 7 days. Good looking out, Watertown, Massachusetts. Last episode, I talked about the album Risque by Chic while shotgunning 3 beers. You can see video of all the raw footage plus a little extra over on Patreon. Also, head over to Patreon for a bonus episode where I talk about the Baywatch episode that inspired me to write a movie. And by the way, yes, I did record that bonus episode immediately after shotgunning 3 beers. You can tell. Go check it out. Okay. let's talk next week's gimmick poll. These are your choices for next week's episode gimmick. They are shave my head, play Tetris, sink a 3-point basketball shot, and our returning gimmick, lie about the topic. Let's review. Number 1, shave my head. And for the record, I'm planning to shave my head anyway, so if that one doesn't win and it comes back around, there may not be much to shave. Number 2, play Tetris. I will play the game Tetris. Number 3, sink a 3-point basketball shot. I can't end the episode until I sink a 3-pointer. And our returning gimmick, number 4, lie about the topic. Remember that any gimmick that gets just a single vote is eligible for a second chance in 6 weeks. Be sure to vote over on Patreon. The poll closes Thursday, May 23rd at noon Eastern America time. All right, time for today's gimmick, which is do it like a wedding toast. Hopefully my outfit makes a little more sense now. Of course, gimmicks don't start until housekeeping is out of the way, in case any of them prevent me from sharing vital information. But now, we are entering the gimmick zone. From this point on, gimmicks are active and everything is improvised. Today's topic comes to us from Adri for $7.50, and I've been asked to review the album Aquemini by Outkast. Now, kiss! Oh my gosh, I love weddings so much. Hey, could I get on the mic? I'm sorry. I got something to say. I'm sorry. Hi. I'm a guest at this wedding, and I just wanted to say a few things. Look, I prepared something. Is that okay? Are you guys okay? Look, like, I'm not a writer, okay, but like I just wanted to say something from the heart here. I have notes, but I don't know how much I'll stick to them. But to the happy couple, Em and Vic, I can't believe that there was once a time where I was a little scared of you two. Like, when I first moved into my new place here in Akron, Ohio, Maine, I just got like a weird vibe off of you two, and I just want to apologize. So if it's okay with all of you, I want to tell the story of how I became friends with Vic, and then after I got to know Vic, I got to know Em, and Vic. They're just the best, and Em is the best too. I love hanging out with Em. And so I just want to tell a story of what really, really showed me how wonderful Vic and Em are as partners. And so I want to talk about when they invited me over to listen to the album Aquemini by Outkast. Now, I had not actually heard any Outkast before. Now, stay with me. This is gonna be, I see you, Muriel. You want to get back out on the dance floor. You want to show us those sick moves, but just give me a minute, you guys. So, the album Aquemini by Outkast kind of sums up Vic and Em's whole relationship. Now, this may be a bit of a stretch, but go with me, okay? So, they were playing the album, and I overheard it, and I went over to their place, and they invited me in to listen to it, and I didn't think much of it the first time I heard it. I've heard it twice, and the first time I heard it, I was just like, all right, this is okay, this is a good thing to have on. Like, no one track really jumped out at me, and that's when I realized I think it's because it's an album as a whole. And to me, that's a reminder of the fact that, like, no one is just one thing. We're a collection of things. We're a collection of ideas. We're a collection of feelings. And sometimes when people bring their ideas and feelings together, you get something even better. And if that doesn't describe Vic and Em, so they put on this album for me, and the first one, very mellow. There's kind of a choir in it. It's called Hold On, Be Strong. And really, I think that's good advice for Vic and Em. I think that is what's going to keep their marriage really strong, is just holding on together. And also, that track's a little off the beaten path. When you hear it, you don't immediately think, oh, I'm about to listen to this amazing Southern rap album. But like, it does really set a mood for, like, we're gonna get a little experimental here. Like, nothing is ever so out there that, like, it doesn't all feel like part of a whole. And I kind of feel like Vic and Em are like that. Like, you two, sorry, I'm a little parched, so I'm just gonna drink a little champagne. You two, like, you fit together, you both have your strengths, but like when you are in balance, kind of like Big Boi and Andre 3000 on this album, when you are in balance and you're both sort of putting in your own perspectives, and like it's both grounded but also kind of ethereal. Like, it never feels like an album that I would fully call experimental, but it does go in enough interesting directions. There's kalimba on the album. There's, some really fat guitar licks in the last track, like, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So yeah, I want you two to hold on and be strong. And hey, who knows what'll come into your life? It could even be a return of the G. And I remember when I heard that song, I was taken in by like just the really good beat and the horns. Yeah, that one was really good. Now, I will say, like, because it is an album that's kind of made up of so many parts, like there's skits. This is just a standard thing for a certain era of rap is to have, skits on the album. And interestingly, at least the way that I experienced the album on streaming, the skits were not broken up into their own tracks. They actually hit at the end of the tracks. And what I find interesting is that, like, I feel like sometimes the skits on a rap album sort of take the subtext and make it text. So, like, a lot of times the song is sort of going with a vibe or a feeling, but then the skit can sometimes just directly say, like, what the track is trying to say. And I feel like that's definitely a feeling on this album. And I feel like that is also a good lesson for Vic and Em. That, sometimes it's a feeling, but sometimes you just gotta come out and say it. You just gotta say how you're feeling to each other. Vic, I know you get upset sometimes when Em comes down to your lab, but they're curious too. Like, I know you both studied different sciences. One of you studied biology, the other one studied chemistry, but you come together to make biochemistry. Not unlike how an Aquarius and a Gemini came together to make the album Aquemini, both borrowing from their skills. And I remember when you put this album on, I was like, I would not think that this is your style. Like, Em, I would think they're into, like, jazz, and I would think they're into, like, techno. Like, not the stereotype, but, like, those are the vibes you two give off, But yeah, so when you put on Aquemini, I was like, oh, huh, okay. And like, parts of the album are very pretty. The song Rosa Parks has, like, very pretty guitar. There's harmonica, some really interesting rhyme schemes too. I really appreciated that track. And like, again, you gotta mix things up. You gotta keep things surprising. You gotta keep them spicy, Also, I just want to compliment the caterers here. You guys really know how to skew it on the Barbie. Great job with that delicious shrimp that we've all been enjoying here at the reception. Can we give it up for the delicious shrimp? Yeah, hell yeah. And yeah, Skew It on the Barbie as a track, that has a hot beat and there's some great flow. The bars on that one, really good. And then, of course, leading us into Aquemini, which I kind of talked about already. It's a slow and low beat, but like really fast bars, and like I feel like that's always an interesting combination. That's a good way to mix it up. Also, the lyrics in that one really speak to me. I think this really sums up your marriage. Nothing is for sure, nothing is for certain, nothing lasts forever. It's just him and I, Aquemini. In this case, them and I, as you're both non-binary. But yeah, that really made me think of, like, yeah, we do not have certainty. All we have is each other. So let's just try to stick together as best as we can. Oops, my tie is falling off. Oh my gosh, sorry. I've had a few. I'm ready to party. No, 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 no. I'm keeping the mic. I'm keeping the mic. Nope. I have more to say because there are 16 tracks on this album and it's like an hour and 15 minutes. So I have to move on and tell you that Synthesizer has a very slick beat. And I feel like y'all are very slick. Did you see Em and Vic's outfits tonight? Whoo! Oh my gosh, you both look absolutely amazing. Also, I wish George Clinton was here, like he is on the track Synthesizer, but I'm sure you guys don't have the budget to visit him. I don't know, actually. Have you sold any of your inventions? No? Okay, well, maybe someday. You're just in a bit of a slump. Not unlike the song Slump, which has a very, like, slow jam vibe, but like some gangsta bars. I really enjoyed that one. I've listened to this album twice and I didn't take notes. I just wrote down the track names on each one and hoped that I could remember what happens in them. Don't worry, folks. At next week's wedding, there will be more notes on the album that I'm reviewing. Because I got kicked a little more money. Thank you for money. Adri, who paid to get me to this wedding. Thank you, Adri. Thank you for your $7.50. Now this is interesting. There is a long stretch of a baby crying at the end of Slump. And the album does get into themes of like being a family man. Now I don't know if we're gonna hear the sound of a crying baby at the end of this particular track. Maybe Vic, all right, I won't push you guys. But yeah, when that happened on the album, it was a little jarring. Like at first I was like, oh, that's kind of experimental. Like I went back and forth on like, do I enjoy this? Because the thing is that like the sound effects and skits, they can sometimes wreck the flow of an album. And like I always go back and forth on this where I'm like, no, it should just be tracks, songs going in and out of each other. I happen to particularly like hip-hop turntablist mixes where it's just like it's an ongoing track, it goes forever. Not saying an album has to be like that, but when like skits or sound effects kind of break things up, it does sometimes take me out of it a little bit, but oftentimes it's thematic to what's going on, so I feel like that's good. Of course, moving right along to West Savannah, which has a very southern rap feel, and that really makes me think of Emmett, who is from Southern California. I'm so sorry, I'm working on it. I apologize. And so that one has a really good feel to it, and then two-parter. The Art of Storytelling, Part 1 and Part 2. And there's an interesting duality to them that I think fits with like the Aquemini two becoming one thing. Because the first Art of Storytelling song is kind of upbeat. And then the second one is a little slower, a little sadder feel. Still a hard beat though, like at least harder than the previous one. So that was interesting. And then I've gotta say, no album is perfect. No album is perfect. And when you both sat me down to listen to this album, I remember there was one that kind of bugged me, and that was Mamacita. And so it was more just the chorus was kind of repetitive, and it was already annoying to begin with, but it kept looping, and that was like, ooh, okay, this song can end anytime. I'm not sure who was singing the chorus, by the way. There was no one credited on that track, but it certainly didn't sound like Andre 3000 or Big Boy. Is this me saying you should introduce a third? No. Why would I say that? You should introduce George Clinton. If you can get George Clinton into your relationship, then more power to you. All right, now the next song. This is a real fun one, and it's of course everyone's favorite, Spotty Otty Dopalicious, which had the hottest horns I have heard. I really loved the horn section on that one. And what's the takeaway for your marriage on that one? Get horny as hell. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I see some of these couples in the front. Vlad, you know what I'm talking about. Vlad, you're not going to do a poem, are you? You are? You're going to? Okay, all right. Well, everybody stick around for that. All right. And also, I I wrote this down. There's a line about cloudy piss in that song, and I don't know why. It just stuck out to me, and so I did scribble down next to it, cloudy piss. That could also be advice for your marriage. Maybe that'll keep things spicy. Anyway, just 4 tracks left. Y'all scared. And I think this one really helps us appreciate that, it's good to acknowledge fear. Any relationship, there's an element of fear, but what matters is that you talk about it. So if you can just talk out those feelings with each other, especially over a great kind of dark beat, you can't shy away from darkness in a relationship. You have to look at it head on. And if y'all scared, that's just not going to work out for your marriage. I'm so sorry. Now, Nathaniel's a real showstopper because there is no beat. It is just bars, and that's it. And it sounds like it's recorded on a phone, and it sounds like a freestyle. I didn't look into this. I don't have liner notes. For $7.50, the most I'm going to do is listen to the album and write down the track names. Thank you again, Adri. But yeah, Nathaniel is just a cappella, no beat. I don't know the story behind it, but the way that it kind of punches you feels like there's probably a story behind it, and I want to look into it, and I will do that after this incredible wedding. Okay, so 2 songs after that, there's Liberation, which is very slow and features CeeLo. I tried to make a pun there, didn't work. Liberation, well, of course, a marriage is liberating. Now, I'll admit, I did not take any notes on the lyrics, but there were many songs that I'm like, oh, this song's really speaking to something. And Liberation was one that I'm like, ooh, I really want to go back and like really listen to all the lyrics and commit them to memory and like really get into the vibe of that track. So yeah, and then the last one on the album is Chonky Fire. And I think Em and Vic, I think we can all appreciate that, you're growing old together. So you're going to be chonky, but the relationship's still going to be fire. And that's what I want you to remember going into this. And that track has some fat guitar licks. So my final advice for you is don't forget the licks. If you want a successful marriage, you need some licking. All right. Well, they're trying to take the mic from me. No, I'm going. No, I. Congratulations, Vic and Em. I'm so sorry about the dead naming. Okay. All right. Are we gonna dance? Can we get back on the dance floor? Can we? Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for giving me a mic. I know I'm not part of the party or the, what do you call it? The people. I wasn't a bridesmaid. They wouldn't let me. I'm not even a bridesmaid or a bride. Okay, all right, fine. Okay. I'm going. All right. Can I just say one thing? Can I just say one thing? As always, Aquemini. Woo! There's another one in the books. Folks, I did not really figure out how to work in Adri sponsoring that, and the solution I came up with is I didn't. For some reason, somebody paid me $7.50 to talk about this at a wedding. And you know what? That's their prerogative. That's true. That's what happened. You heard it here first. Everything is true.